Good afternoon. My name's Steve Poftak. I'm the general manager of the MBTA. At approximately 6:10 this morning, we had a derailment here on a train that was traveling south into JFK UMass Station. The third car of a Red Line train derailed, causing significant damage not only to the car but also to track, power infrastructure, and signal infrastructure. There were 61 people on board who were evacuated. There was one person who was treated on scene for a hand injury and declined transportation to the hospital. There was one additional person who was evacuated, left the scene, then returned to the scene, complaining of neck and back pain, who was then transported to the hospital at their request. Obviously, this caused significant disruption to the morning commute. There's the disruption on the Red Line, of course, but we also put in a bus shuttle in place at the time, using over 65 buses this morning. That, because we operate at capacity during the morning rush, caused disruption across the system because we had to pull buses from various routes. In addition, we were stopping the commuter rail at Braintree, Quincy Center, and JFK UMass to serve additional customers, so that added to the commute times on the commuter rail. Because of the timing and location of this particular derailment, a number of our train assets were stuck on the southern side of the system, so we didn't have as much service to run on the northern end of the Red Line as we'd hoped to during the rush. So again, significant disruption and significant damage. This accident is currently under investigation, and we do not have any findings to report at the current time. From our preliminary review, this is not related to Saturday's derailment, which, as was noted yesterday, was due to operator error. There's no relationship based on our preliminary review between these two incidents. I would note that I have asked for this morning for a third-party assessment of all mainline revenue derailments on the MBTA over the last 2 years. I want a fresh set of eyes on this to make sure we're not missing something. We have done investigations into all these derailments, obviously, and where root causes are identified, we have taken comprehensive steps to mitigate them. But I think we have an obligation to the riding public and the taxpayers of this community of this Commonwealth to make sure that we are taking every step possible to address this issue. I would also note that we are in the middle of significant investments in not only the Red and Orange Line, but also the Green Line and commuter rail, all of which will have the impact of enhancing safety. These are not speculative investments. These are not planned investments. These are investments that are actively underway that will enhance safety. And I think that's important to note. We hear very clearly and we understand very clearly that this situation with these derailments is not acceptable, and we are taking steps to address that. In terms of the evening commute, right now we are in the process of setting up bus shuttles. We are hopeful, and we will have an update later this afternoon. We are hopeful to offer better service than that, but right now we are planning to offer bus shuttles. But again, I would encourage you to check the MBTA website and social media accounts for updates, because we hope to have an update later in the afternoon. Currently, we are planning to run bus shuttles between Broadway and North Quincy, and then the Red Line will run between North Quincy and Braintree. We will also be running a bus shuttle from Broadway all the way to Ashmont. In addition, I really want to encourage people to take advantage. We are adding additional service on the commuter rail. We are offering, we're calling it a South Shore Limited. It is a train that will depart from South Station, and it will stop at JFK, Quincy Center, and Braintree. You'll be able to board this train with a Charlie card or a Charlie ticket. That train will leave, the first train leaves South Station at 3 o'clock. The next one leaves at 4:30. Next one leaves at 6, and the last train will leave at 7:20. So again, if you're a regular Red Line passenger on the Braintree branch, there is going to be this additional service out of South Station that again is going to leave at 3 o'clock, 4:30, 6 o'clock, and 7:20. It stops at South Station, JFK, Quincy Center, and Braintree. In addition, the commuter rail, there's trains on the Kingston, Greenbush, and Middleborough branch that will be making, that are not typically scheduled to stop at JFK, UMass, and Quincy Center. They will be stopping there. Also on the Kingston line, they'll be stopping in Braintree. The Middleborough line, they'll be stopping in Braintree as well. We were also able to get a number of trains. I mentioned earlier that we had trains that were stuck on the south side of the system. We were able to get a number of those trains up to the north side of the system. So we'll be operating from Broadway to Alewife, and we will have more trains than we had this morning. So we will have, we will be able to offer a higher level of service there. I also want to note, as part of our recovery operation here, we're going to have to use some cranes. One of those cranes is going to be located on Columbia Road, right here at the bridge. So obviously that is going to cause some traffic disruptions, and we're working with our partners both at MassDOT and with the City of Boston to not only get the message about those delays, but obviously to manage those delays. So. In total right now we have the train. We are still working to re-rail the train. We are still in the preliminary stages of conducting what will be a very thorough investigation. We have initiated a much broader review of mainline revenue derailments over the last 2 years. And again, this was not, our preliminary review finds this was not related to the factors that caused the derailment on Saturday. But it is something that we will thoroughly investigate, and we will obviously report back to the public on our findings in due course. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions.
What is that independent shuttle buses? It seems like there's a lot of disorganization. They're taking forever to get from one place to another. What's happening?
Shuttle buses, shuttle buses are a replacement for the Red Line, but obviously they don't have the capacity, and they operate. They don't have the same capacity, and they operate in the same traffic that we all do. That everyone else is operating in. Right now, we're working with our partners, with the City of Boston, to make sure that we have as much coverage as we can get to get those buses flowing through. And we're also actively working on additional service, and as I said, we'll have updates throughout the afternoon if we're able to do some service other than the shuttle bus service. So I'd encourage you to keep track of MBTA social media accounts as we try to provide additional service.
What's the independent review going to look like? What's that going to entail?
The independent review is going to be from an outside party that will take a look not only at the oversight that the T has done, but to the extent that there are materials specific to each one that they can review. They will review those as well. It's a fresh set of eyes, and it's also intended if there's some sort of pattern that hasn't been picked up on, we'll have them. I don't have the figure over the past 2 years. Within this calendar year, this is the 4th derailment across all services, including commuter rail. This is the 4th mainline revenue derailment within this calendar year.
Would this have happened if that car was brand new?
That's speculation that I can't. Again, not knowing the cause here, and obviously not having not having all the data at my fingertips, I can't speculate on that.
Have you ruled out any possible causes? I realize you said it's still being investigated, but anything that's completely ruled out?
From their initial investigation, the transit police have ruled out any sort of foul play. That has been ruled out, but right now it's at far too early a stage for us to speculate about anything else. That's when I followed up on this morning. That is unrelated. I believe that the system is safe. We have a comprehensive set of maintenance and inspection protocols in place. To the extent that we identify root causes, we address them. If and when we identify a root cause in this one, we will address it, as we did with the previous derailments. I use the system every day. I believe it's safe.
What's your timeline on fixing? We're going to see this cleared up.
That's we will. My expectation is that it will be removed within the next 24 hours. It is a delicate piece of work in that it is partially underneath a bridge. So to the extent that we can get crane equipment in, we'll do it, but it is not as easy in an open place. I think it's also worth noting that this crash caused significant damage to signal equipment. There's a number of signal bungalows that are immediately adjacent to the vehicle that have now been damaged. Out of an abundance of caution, we can't get crews in there to check the condition of those signal bungalows until we've got the vehicle safely removed. But that is also an issue that we're going to have to address as we go forward in an attempt to restore service on this line.
Would the Ashmont side be?
I don't have not just because we don't have a full assessment of the damage, particularly to the signals, because it's not safe to do that right now. I don't have a concrete assessment. I don't want to speculate right now.
Should this assessment of derailment happen sooner? I mean, the mayor is upset. You've had customers complaining for years. Should you guys have done this sooner?
You know, a derailment is always a bad event at a transit agency, and we take everyone very seriously. We do investigations of each one. We have put in place a number of mitigations in the past when we found root causes. So I don't, I think it's important that we do it now. Particularly, we have two that have occurred in rapid succession. Again, it appears that they are wholly unrelated. But I think it's important that we turn over every stone at this point to make sure that A, we mitigate, if there's any sort of root cause, that we mitigate it, and that we give every assurance to the riding public, and I'm one of them, that our system is safe.
Has the governor been in touch with you?
Prices go up on July 1st. People are upset. We have video of them screaming and yelling about this all morning long. What do you say to these riders who are going to see increases as much as $7 on the commuter rail, more throughout the system? What do you have to say to them?
Sure, we have a program underway where we are investing billions of dollars in this system. We are building a better system. We are enhancing safety. Customers are going to start to see the results of these as we go. So, I understand there's frustration. I'm frustrated that we're having this. This is, we want to provide a much higher, more reliable level of service to our customers, and we are actively taking steps to invest that money so that we can provide that service.
When you say the two aren't related, do you mean that there was no operator error involved in this one?
To the extent that there was operator error in the Green Line one, it is not related to if there was any type of operator error here, and we don't have any evidence of that. It is not a related type.
Have you been in touch with the governor? Has he been in touch with you, rather, about this?
Yes, I've spoken with the governor.
What was his reaction?
The governor obviously wants this system to run safely, and but I think he also understands that we are making a tremendous amount of investment in this system, and that we are headed in the right direction. And I think he also wants to be sure that we turn over every rock to make sure that we understand why this happened, and we mitigate to the extent that there are root causes that we can mitigate, that we mitigate them.
Are you worried that you'll drive riders?
Last question.
What is the status of the operator?
I am not fully briefed.
Okay,
I do not know the answer on
All right,
that.
guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.